Yeah, g'day, how you going? Just a bit of a catch-up video for my R31 Skyline. I was repairing the rust in it previous to my other video. The rust has been done. I also took the front bumper off as well, mainly to get in to put that fella in there, transmission cooler, and to also take the air conditioning fan out. I reconditioned it, cleaned it all up, put it all back in. Everything's all cable tied up, it's all nice and neat. So here's what the battery box looks like now. Yes, I did put the wiring harness back in. It's quite difficult to get through the little hole down through there. Yeah, there's a hole down under there. There's only about 20mm gap between the inner guard and the guard itself, so you've got to actually undo all the guard. All these bolts here have to be undone. These are all 10mm bolts. They're going to be undone. Also, the bumper's got to come off to get more room to it. Now, I also tidied up the wiring harness as it goes into the channel there, up there. It goes up through here and sits in the channel up there. So it sits on top of the condenser for the air conditioner. It comes out this side. This is the left hand side of the car. Comes out through here, so you can see it coming out just through there. And it comes along the top here. Now, I also cleaned this area down here. Now, it's not been painted. I just cleaned it. That's all I've done. The washer bottle, I took that out. I soaked it in some bleach to get it nice and clean. Once again, I've put all the cable ties back on that have been broken over the time. So there's got some nice new ones on from Nava. I still haven't completed work up here. Now I've got to take the cruise control modulator off because there's some rust just here, and I want to get to that before that gets any worse. Now this car does not, sorry I'm shaking a little bit, this car does not end up in the weather, so that rust has been there for a long time. So it only had 2 spots of rust on this car. Other than that, the car's in fairly good condition. Wiper arms are off, of course. Now, I had to rebuild the rods. So the rods that I'm talking about are these two, these fellas here. So I had to rebuild these. What had happened with them is that the arms sit in these little plastic type sockets here, and they swivel and pivot back and forth. This is the one that controls your throw of them, so it only goes a certain distance. And this one over here, this is one I had to rebuild. So I've made up this sort of thing. I'm going to replace this eventually once I do get some more of these cups. Now, I do believe that the cups are exactly the same on an XE Falcon. These arms are made by Trico. The branding on them is Trico. You can see that there. Sorry. So it's Trico. So I need to replace these eventually, but it's just going to get, if it works a little bit, that's all good. I don't really drive the car in the rain anyway. I'm trying to keep it out of that. So wiper motor has been stripped and rebuilt, re-greased, cleaned, and repainted. So that's going to look pretty well much new. So that's going to go in over here eventually once I get all this area cleaned up. So I'm just going to clean all this muck off the bulkheads here. That's from 30 years, and I believe it's just road dirt. There's no oil in it. It comes off very easy. If it just lick my finger. Right, and you can see that it comes off pretty easy just with a bit of spit on my finger. So that comes off very, very easy. So I'm going to do that, put that back in, and just continue putting the car back together. Then I'll be able to drive the car. Now, I'm not restoring this car. There's no need to restore it. I want it to stay in its original 30-year-old condition. All I'm doing is cleaning it. So this is the bonnet's original condition. What is missing on the bonnet is its sound deadener. Some of the little plastic plugs are still in the bonnet. Now, that fell off a couple of years after I brought it. It actually started falling apart and I pulled it off. I haven't got that plug out as yet. Now I'm going to replace this sound deadener and put it back on the bonnet where it belongs. So I'm going to buy some stuff, cut it to shape and stick it back in. It's meant to help with engine noise outside the car. Although the engine is very, very quiet. There is no knocks, rattles or bangs. It does have that standard RB30 tappet noise when they first start up, especially when they haven't been started for a long time. That's normally because the lifters bleed down, especially if it's sitting on the upper lobe on that valve. The lifters will bleed down, and they do tap 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 for a little while until the oil pressure comes up. That's pretty standard for these. They all do it. Haven't come across a RB30 engine that doesn't do it. So anyway, so this is just an update of what I'm doing to my R31 Skyline. Why am I doing it? Because I was worried about the battery. This battery bracket, it was only surface rust. It wasn't anything bad. There's no pitting or anything in the battery bracket. There's a little bit of rust down here on the inner guard. Once again, it wasn't pitted, it was only surface rust. Probably from that real crappy battery it had in the car when I brought it. It was leaking. These days I run a fully sealed battery in this so it doesn't leak at all. So alright, so I'm going to get back to it. Thanks for watching.